So the title is Liberation is not a personal experience. So this is all there is, which you've most probably heard a billion times before, or maybe you're new and this is the first time, but I highly doubt that if you're new to non-duality, you would come to me. If you're new to non-duality, you'll be looking for somebody that looks like they're into non-duality. I do not look like a non-duality teacher, so that will be the first burp burp. And then secondly, I don't speak light. So I can also imagine it's like, you what, love? Yeah. But this is all there is. And that's it. That's it. End of story. That is the freedom, that this is all there is. And because chimpanzees descended from the trees, they came down the trunk and they started walking on the flatlands, they began to increase this activity in the brain which could perceive potential threats in the past and also ones which had threatened them, in the past and in the future, sorry. Potential threats from the past and ones that could happen in the future. And because that happened, this brain thing, this magical organism, which is only ever arising now, formed this ability to imagine future and past. And then through that and the growth of language, you then began to imagine a you. Whereas prior to that, when we lived up in trees and we were like, whoo, 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 sniffing each other's butts, we didn't have a very strong time-bound reality. We were very much more instantaneous, and we couldn't imagine an us or a them. Even though chimpanzees can recognize themselves in a mirror, they still don't have this idea or this knowledge or this language of I am somebody. Sorry, I think I'm getting messages. I hope it's not about my audio now. So then when we came down onto the flatlands, we had to think more in time because it was way more dangerous in the flatlands. In the trees, it was very much about being in the moment and being reactive and responsive to what was happening in the trees. Very instantaneous, like the movement of grabbing and moving quickly through the trees. You had to be so focused and present. So it was very much about now, 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 now. Whereas on the flatlands, we had to begin to think, last time we walked through this area, a lion ate one of us. Last time we did this, this happened. In order to survive down here on the flatlands, which are also hilly, we had to think in time. And then this growth of the time bound led to this idea of you. And so most people sit there and believe that they are somebody going through time, whereas you're not somebody going through time. You are this ever-present moment, which is unmoving and yet moving. And that's all there ever is this moment. Can you ever grab hold of the past? You can have a picture or a video of the past. You can like rewind me now, but we can't actually have the past. You can never grab it. You can never grab the future. You're only ever here. But our mind is working in a way where it's constantly replaying the past and future, making it feel like you are somewhere. But you're not somewhere, you're nowhere. We are all nowhere, suspended in the middle of nothing, which is absolutely terrifying to the person, but it's nothing to be afraid of because it's your essence. A person is terrified of that vast emptiness of what they are, because the person requires things and times and space in order to exist. So all you are, put simply, is this, and that is the freedom of non-duality. That's the freedom of all the spiritual traditions. It's all you've ever wanted is this moment. The mind says, I don't want loneliness. The mind says, I want this person to be nice. The mind says, I need a home. The mind says, I need a certain amount of money. The mind says, I need peace. The mind says, we need to be sustainable. The mind says all these things, which creates this energy of rejecting what is. But there's nothing to reject. Everything is that which you are. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to hide from. There is nothing which is threatening you as this moment. Now, the character inside this movement, which is apparently an object in relationship with lots of other objects, there are things to be afraid of. If the lion comes chasing, run away. If you're presented with a disease-ridden piece of food, don't eat it. So the person has all these things to deal with, but as and who you are, there is nothing to be afraid of, because everything is you. Everything. And you're not moving. Where are you going? You're always here. Always. It's just all these things are coming and going in you, as you. But you aren't moving. You're always in this stillness, with the appearance of this movement. The mind imagines, no, but I've just come from here, I'm going there, but that's imagination. I have this problem and that problem, that's imagination. I feel uncomfortable, that's imagination. The discomfort's there, but the I feel uncomfortable is imagination. If the dog is uncomfortable, it's just uncomfortable, they can't perceive it. Khaleesi often thinks I'm hurting her when she's in pain. I try to explain rationally that I cannot be possibly hurting her leg if she's like 4 meters away from me, but she's like, paranoia, Khaleesi. I'm only joking. There's pain in the leg and everything is that pain. Because unfortunately a few times we have had accidents and I've hurt her accidentally, like falling off the bike and things and dropping things. She unfortunately associates this with me. I have a very clumsy personality. The coordination doesn't always work properly. And Khaleesi is well aware of this. The thing is coming, it is coming rapidly, it is wobbling, run! So everything that you think is a problem now is imagination. I don't mean to be gaslighting you or dismissing your feelings, and we can go back at that and we can like hear your feelings and really listen to your feelings, because that's important to do as a human species. But there is no problem. Ever. Ever. There isn't a problem. There isn't a problem now. There is imagination which keeps going me, problem, 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 me, problem. There is just this moment, and this moment is free. I mean, look at it. It's like, hello, hello. It's here. It's what's always here. It's the birthright of all things. And this moment contains two things which never leave. That is the watching and that sense of beingness. And the watching isn't watching from a place. The watching is the things. And the same with the beingness. That sense of being, not I am something, but I am, is actually all things as well. It's simultaneous with this moment. Those things cannot be here without everything. Everything and consciousness and I amness belong together. Celebrate good times. Woohoo! Woohoo! There isn't a problem here. There isn't a problem here. There isn't a problem here. The person contracts and lives in often mental thoughts which are telling you of problems, and then those problems create feelings in your body. And this is often habitual and been going on for many years, and then it kind of becomes automatic. Your body habitually feels that problem. So say if you feel very disempowered, you'll wake up in the morning without even that story of being powerless, but your body will habitually feel like that. And then your body will navigate situations around that feeling. So you're kind of like, that's where law of attraction comes into things, because you kind of go towards the resonance of that feeling. Like things that make you feel disempowered, you maybe go towards them, or maybe you go towards things in which you can break down that feeling again and again. And disempowerment inherently isn't an identified feeling. That is something that happens if you're in jail, if you're cuffed up, if you're nailed to the cross. There is a disempowerment that's happening there. If you are in a society where there is a big disbalance in power, then there is going to be disempowerment. But it's this identification and this belief that that is who you are, and then this owning of it, like this embodying of that disempowerment. Like, this is who I am. And then this kind of personality that becomes a disempowered personality, but it doesn't even know it's disempowered. It just might look like a grumpy person, or a like heavy person, or a whiny person. It has no consciousness that underneath it all it feels disempowered. It's just acting it out as if that is who they are. And that to me is a life of suffering, to keep acting out these patterns and believing that's who you are. Everybody's going to have patterns, and when you wake up and disidentify with the person, there's still going to be patterns in that body, because it is a pattern. But it's this identification, this absolute belief in its truth. That is who I am, but just not even naming it, an absolute unconsciousness to it, and an identification with it. And it's an energy, like an energy contraction. And then from that arises seeking, because you feel like you've lost your sense of self. There's everything. You can't articulate this, but there's always this sense of loss and loneliness. Like I am alone. Like the person, the human deeply feels I am alone. Because its true nature is wholeness. So with Calicia, she got lost and was by herself. Yes, she'd be scared and frightened, but there's still this connection to the wholeness of what you are, which isn't alone, which is all things, which is constantly surrounded by things, which constantly is those things. And I had this waking up experience, which I've spoken about many times for all the years that I've been speaking. Like I had this like sense of being very alone on a human level, and then I was just like looking through the window, and there was these palm trees and grasses, I think, I forget what the plants were now, like flapping outside the window, and the sunlight was, and the shade were dancing with them, and just suddenly had a sense that was stroking me, that was me, it was like supporting me, it was like every part of me. I wasn't separate from that. I wasn't ever this alone human. I'm just going to turn down my stream size. I haven't got as good at internet as I've normally got. Yes, I hope that stops it buffering for people. So even in me speaking, or any teacher speaking about this, there might be the sense like, I want that. I need that to be free. But notice that this is a story and that runs in this, but there's something else in which that runs in. So you've got an imagination of you that's going to become enlightened, but that's rising in something that's perfectly still now. And that's the freedom. Like you could say it's like the background is the freedom, not what you as a human personally desire. So you're listening to me and you're thinking, oh, I want that, where is it, where is it? But it's appearing in a freedom that is. So what is it that's free right now? What is it that doesn't move? What is it that's always here, no matter where you go or what you do? So you go to New Zealand, you go to South Africa, you go to Egypt, you go to India, you go to Pakistan. But yet there's one thing that remains. What is it that's always remaining? And this is the freedom. This is the freedom. It's so expansive and free. It doesn't need any effort. It's without effort. It is the birthright of all beings. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you're like, hang on, just let me turn on this moment. Let me turn on the consciousness to this moment. Beep, 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 beep. Because what would know that? What would be conscious of that? Like, how could that happen? It's already happening. When you've woken up, this is already happening. So you can't like then be like, oh, okay, let me get that. It is your birthright and you didn't do anything to get it. It's here all the time. Because the person is narrating to itself, which is an important part of human survival, but because it's narrating to itself what it's doing, what it wants to do, its choices, its story of itself, its story of the external world, it always thinks I'm in control and I'm doing this life and I am alive. But you're appearing in life. You are, like, the person is appearing in life. The person is appearing in life. Who you are is this absolute life. And that is not in the person's control. The person appears in that. That is inherently here. Inherently here. Yeah, baby, yeah. You can't control this thing. You can't pick it and pick it all up like life, put all of it into a bag and be like, not in time, not on that. And then I'm going to control it. I poke my hand in and control it. It's here. You are appearing in it. You are an expression of it. The human is an expression of it. The person is an expression of it. I keep moving between what you means, and I'm sorry, that's so confusing, but that's just what happens. So the person isn't a doer. The person isn't happening. But the person is always narrating to itself, I do. But all your choices, so there's the appearance of choices, but all of your choices are coming from that creative expression of nowhere. It's not coming from a somewhere. So if you say, oh, I'm going to make myself a coffee, and you like really believe you're going to make yourself a coffee, where does that come from? The person is in that statement, like, I'm going to make myself a coffee, and then there's a feeling of me. But where does it come from? Did you program in that thought prior? Like, beep, 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 program in, I am going to want a coffee, and then I'm going to think I'm going to make a coffee? Like, it's rising, and it feels like you, it feels like you're doing, and that's what it's meant to do. Ramesh Balsekar always used to say, you have to have the appearance of free will, otherwise you'd feel like you're in a cage. So there's an appearance of free will. So there's appearance like, I'm going to make myself a coffee. But actually, when you look at it, who is this you that's making coffee? There is the appearance of a thought. There is the arising of the feeling that you're going to make the coffee. And that is arising in this thing called life. And life is what's always constant. The you is coming and going. The you's wants is coming and going. Needs, memories, ideas. Yeah. It's so exciting talking about this subject. I do so enjoy it. Yeah, thank you for letting me express this to you. Ho! But that's what we do on the human level. I say thank you to this character, and then this character's like, yes, my pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. But it's arising in this no place, and that's what we actually are. This no place. This life, which is love. But these characters dance. They dance. They dance. And everything that you're dreaming of that's going to fix your life isn't going to fix your life. There's going to be more pleasurable or more painful, but it's not going to fix your life. Your freedom is this expansiveness of who you are, not a time-bound thing. It really is this moment. It's this. And this is where the healing truly happens. This is what loads of religious traditions have been speaking about. Just this right now, nothing more. Not somebody experiencing this, not somebody in relation with another, but this, which is all things appearing as noting. Okay, so you can ask questions on Skype. My Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12. You can find the information in the box below. I have a red do not disturb sign, but please just write in questions there. And if you want me to call you, put call me with nothing else underneath. So call me with nothing else. And then you can write questions.